Welcome everyone. My name's Sonia. I'm from Soft UK. I'm here with Simone Adams. She has a lovely little girl, 3 years old, Maeve, and we're going to have a conversation about how Simone and Maeve's experience has been during lockdown. Thank you so much, Simone, for being with us. First of all, just start off by giving us a little intro about Maeve from the beginning and how you found Soft.
Well, Maeve, we have a relatively normal pregnancy with Maeve. She was born at 35 weeks. She came, obviously she came early, but she was tiny, £3.11, and went into spontaneous labour. But I was actually booked in for a C-section on the morning that Maeve came, because she'd stopped growing and my placenta had stopped working. So gave birth to Maeve and she was whisked off to neonatal. 6 hours later, we were told that she'd got an underdeveloped ear and her hips didn't mobilise. And that, together with her low birth weight, they said they were going to do some genetic testing, which they said not to worry about because they do it more often than not, and it comes back relatively normal.
Yeah.
10 days later, we were told that she'd got Edwards syndrome. World completely, as you can imagine, completely crashed down. I've got 2 older boys who's 10 and 7.
Yeah.
So we just presumed, as you do, you're going to have a healthy, happy, little girl. And obviously things didn't turn out that way. She was in neonatal for 4 weeks, and then we were sent home at 4 weeks old on end-of-life palliative care. We were actually sent home and we were told we were going home to die.
Wow.
We were referred to Acorns Children's Hospice. We were back in hospital within 5 days of Maeve being out of hospital, back on the children's ward because she was having some apnea spells, which again they didn't want to treat because we were told, why would you treat a baby that's going to die prematurely? And those with Edwards syndrome die early anyway, and her life expectancy was only 6 weeks. So yeah, it kind of drifts on from there. But in actual fact, she's gone from strength to strength. She's only 7.1 kilograms in weight. She's only 75 centimetres long. So she's just gone into 12 to 18 month clothing. But she's the happiest, smiliest girl. I think I'm a bit biased because I'm a mum, obviously. But
of course.
Yeah, she is the happiest, smiliest baby that I have ever met. She very rarely cries. If she cries, we know there's definitely something up.
Yeah.
She only cries if she's got bellyache, which isn't very often, or if she's brewing something, or she's got a cold coming. Otherwise, yeah, she's really happy. First 18 months of Maeve's life, we had to practically fight for everything that we needed for Maeve. And by our consultant's own admission at 10 months old, he practically held his hands up and was like apologising on behalf of him and the rest of his team that for the way that we'd been treated for the first 10 months of Maeve's life. And now, in all honesty, he can't do enough for us. He checks up on us constantly on the phone. I do a blog on Facebook and he follows Maeve's blog on Facebook. Yeah, and anything we want, really, we go through him and he does his best to get us.
It's so good that it sounds like the support turned around for you, and it's all because of Maeve's strength really to survive.
Yeah.
And they can see that.
They've said to us quite a lot, they don't think Maeve would have got as far as she had got without having parents like us, because we have fought for everything. We've questioned everything. I'm not the brightest star in the sky, if you like, but, Maeve has taught us that question absolutely everything. Even if we know gut instinctively that they're right, we still question everything. Even now, to this day, anything anybody ever says to us, we question.
Like you said, that's what Maeve taught you, and I think any family that can relate to that do exactly the same thing as you. It's the best approach possible because you need to know what's going on with your child, and you're not a medical professional, so you need to ask those questions, and it's good that you're not afraid to ask them either. So did you get referred to Soft, or did you find Soft UK on your own?
No, once we got diagnosis, you automatically turn to Dr. Google, don't you? And Dr. Google has all the answers. And it actually, for us, it didn't. It just absolutely petrified us because of the photos that we saw and the stories that we read. And scrolling down and down and down Google, I actually come across Soft. I was like, because I work in care anyway, and I kept saying to my husband, there's a charity for everything. everything nowadays. There's got to be some kind of support or something out there. And that's when I eventually came across Soft, and I emailed, and I actually got put in contact with Tina, and I had quite a lengthy conversation with Tina one night, and I remember absolutely sobbing on the phone to Tina for hours, just like saying, you know, how do we do it? How do we go on? How do I explain to my two boys now this sister that they've longed for 8 months, and you know, have nursed in hospital, and she, you know, they just think she's just their little sister, and she's just poorly and on oxygen and on a feeding tube. How do I explain to them that, you know, she might not make it? You know, we might not have her for as long as what we want to have her. And I always remember Tina saying, look, Simone, you're her mom. You're their mom. You know exactly what to say. Don't overthink it. You know exactly what to say, when to say it. And 3 years down the line, you know, it's completely right. We've never told the boys that Maeve's got a life-limiting condition. We've never told the boys that, you know, there's a chance that she's going to die. And now Brogan's 10, and he can tell you more about Edward syndrome than I can, only because he's listened to what we've been saying, and his ears prick up. You know what 10-year-olds are like.
Yeah, they soak it all up as well, don't they? Every little detail.
You don't realise until randomly he comes out with things just when you're doing the shopping. And you know, and it's opened their eyes as well to the world of disabilities, because they were quite sheltered and didn't know anybody in a wheelchair or anybody with a facial disfigurement or anything like that.
Yeah.
And obviously Maeve now has, and it's opened their eyes.
But they don't see that; they just see their sister. Yeah.
Yeah, she's not like everybody else.
No.
But she's special. That's all they know, is that she's special and she's their baby sister.
So how have you all been managing during the beginning of lockdown?
We're probably the only family that really enjoyed it.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
Yeah, lots and lots of people were like, when we first had Maeve, we kind of went into our own little lockdown. You know, nobody ever came in the house. Nobody went out the house. The boys went to school. I dropped them off and picked them up. That was it. Maeve never left the house. If anybody ever came in the house, they were hand sanitising, and every time before they touched her, they'd wash their hands. Anybody had got the slightest sniffle, they wouldn't come by us. So it really was like going back to the early days with Maeve, and Maeve has absolutely flourished. She's come on more in the past 8 months than what she has in the whole 2 years that she's been here.
Oh, that's brilliant. What makes you think that's happened?
I think it's because she thrives on the attention of her eldest brother, Brogan. He's always in her face. He's always doing something in her face. And I think because he's always done it from a young age, that's what she wants. That's what she lives for now. So having mom, because I was furloughed, dad was furloughed, and the boys were off school. So having all of us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, constantly in her face, constantly in the living room, constantly in the kitchen. Somebody was always there with her. You know, she got used to that attention. Yeah. And now she's a bit of a pain in the bum with it.
Yeah. So how is she finding it now slowly? I mean, the boys have gone back to school.
She's actually just started preschool. So that's done her the world of good as well, because 4 afternoons a week she has got someone that's with her 2.5 hours for the whole 2.5 hours in her face, doing activities, painting, you know, sensory room. So to a degree, we've managed to get her, you know, to fulfil that need for her. When she comes home, she's too tired to want to know us anyway, so she tends to sleep. She's full of life.
Did you have any problems with support coming in to help you during COVID, or did you need any sort of support?
Not really, no, because pre-lockdown, a lot of Maeve's support had been pulled anyway, like a community nursing team, because she wasn't high on the scale of needing any physical nursing help. Her nursing team was pulled. I mean, they're still there, but it's only as and when we need them now. We just started to have a couple of daycares from the local children's hospice, and obviously that all stopped. So, yeah, we'd kind of got used to not having as much support around us as what we had previously. Yeah. But then, obviously, through lockdown, it was a whole different kettle of fish, because we'd got each other. We'd got the family support, as opposed to having me being here all day by myself and the boys being at school and Dad being at work, we were all there. Me and Dad were there, so we'd share Maeve through the day. And if Dad is working from home now, but Daddy's still here.
And she senses that probably. She knows how many people are there for her.
Yeah, and she's definitely a daddy's girl, so she's
is she? It's good for you to cash in on that now and then, isn't it?
Most definitely.
I think you wouldn't have a big problem if we went back into another lockdown, really. It sounds like you've got a good strategy in place.
Yeah, we did. My mother-in-law did all our shopping for the 10 weeks that we were in lockdown for 13 weeks, but for the 10 weeks of the beginning of lockdown, she did our shopping once a week for us. And then when I spoke to our family support officer from our local children's hospice, they did get us some, I think they were fortnightly food hampers delivered. So we did have that as well. So yeah, but apart from that, we did quite enjoy it.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you've had a great experience, which is so positive, and especially with your boys, it's probably not easy managing 2 other siblings at the same time, but you sound like you're doing a great job.
Yeah, the hardest thing that we had to do was getting the boys to actually do schoolwork, especially the younger one of the 2, because he's such a boy. He just wanted to, do boy things and play in the garden, and it was actually like, no, you have to do at least a little bit of schoolwork.
So hard to motivate them though, because they're like, but I'm at home. Why do I need to do work?
But they did it, you had to be, a little bit forceful sometimes, but they did it, and they've come out the other side, and they were one of the few people that went back like the mid-June, just after lockdown was just over. And they went back for 6 weeks before they actually broke up for the summer. And it did them the world of good.
So is there any tips that you can give any other families that might go into shielding again, or with, how you kept things so positive for you and your family?
I'd say don't stress. Things are going to be like things are going to be. There's nothing that we can do about this whole COVID situation. As long as you do as much as what you can in hand sanitising, hand washing, keeping yourself healthy and away from as much as you can, then the rest is fate. Enjoy it, don't overthink it, and just do it.
Take it a day at a time, because you just don't know what next week's going to happen.
No, and having Maeve, that's exactly what Maeve has taught us to do. We don't plan too far ahead. I never tell the boys that we're going out on days out and things like that. So just take every day as it comes and live your life like you want to live it.
I think if anything, Trisomy families might have a little bit of an edge on everybody else in this sort of situation, because like you said, you've been sort of living this life from when Maeve was born, so it's not too alienated for you, and your resilience has already been built up from then on. So thank you so much for chatting with me, Simone. It's been lovely to hear how well Maeve's doing, and I look forward to hearing more of her stories.
Thank you for inviting us again.